You're back.
Me?
Well, I wasn't expecting to see you back here again.
No? Well, it is a...
On duty? But you're just sitting there drinking wine.
No, I am not just drinking...
I must be missing something. You're in...
Precisely, monsieur. My cover is that of an Indo...
You've got me convinced.
Merci. But in reality, my every muscle is... I am drawn tight, ready to pounce.
Who or what were you planning to pizzang on?
You must have heard, monsieur, of the...
You mean the killings? Oh, at last, someone...
People die every day. No, I am on the trail of Sword.
Who?
Sword Jacques, the terror of the scepter. He pops up here, he pops up there. The cops, he is so hush up beneath the neck that damned elusive sword.
Bravo, that's very good.
Merci. I was up half the night.
Who is this Sewer Jacques character?
Ah, if we but knew that, we could have him in custody. But he is to despoil the sewers of our fair city. He has committed... He has pretended to be a police officer, and... He has pretended to be a jongleur.
Wow, is that the time?
And an American tourist. What nationality are you, monsieur?
Canadian. Well, gotta go now. See ya. Well, it's not everyone who can say they started an urban myth. I didn't have time to sit. Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant.
Is the right-hand window original?
Oui, monsieur.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know. It is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. Somehow it looked more modern than its neighbor. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. A stone knight lay at the end of a row. I wondered if this guy had died in combat. A stone knight lay in full... Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. In comparison to its neighbor, it looked pretty plain. A knight, there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess. The priest was still busy with the chalice, so I decided to have another look around the church. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing other than deported. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a... I didn't have time. A row of old pews, beautifully carved and glowing with polish. I thought of all the people who must have sat here over the decades. All those Parisian derrieres, firm buttocks of the young ladies, the flabby flesh of the old men. That wasn't a pleasing image, so I went back to the young ladies. Whoa! I could see that what had at first seemed to be a fine engraved chasing on the scroll was actually writing. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Sounds pretty familiar to me. Per discipline. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a... I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess. The lens fitted into the end of the scroll like a hand into a glove. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Hey! The distortions came sharply in the focus. It was a Knight Templar burning at the stake. And below him a date in Roman numerals. A Knight Templar burning at the stake. And a date. Let me see. MCCCXIV. That's 1314. Hey, thanks.
It is my pleasure, monsieur.
What was the writing on the chalice?
It was not writing, my mistake. It was a coat of arms. The remarkable thing is that it seems very familiar.
Yeah?
Oui, I think I have seen it on that wall tomb in the far corner. That winged horse is quite distinctive.
I noticed that the stained-glass window on the left looks more modern than the middle one.
You have a keen eye, monsieur. The original window was destroyed in the last war. It was as old as the church, early 14th century.
Oh, man, that's awful.
Oui, a terrible loss. Still, the church and the other windows survived.
Do you speak Latin?
You ask this of a priest?
Okay. Can you tell me what per disciplinum meum lux videbus means?
Let me see. That would be, by my teachings, you will see the light. I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Boy, what a
Merci. It is all in the wrist action.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
It was hard to believe it was the same chalice. Now the light... Now that my attention had been drawn to it, there was no mistake. There was no name on it, but the coat of arms was undeniably the Pegasus of the De Vasconcelos family. I'd found the last resting place of Don Carlos. My eye was drawn to the biblical references carved into the edge of the tomb. Hey, maybe these biblical references mean something. John 4:11. Not much to go on, but it must have meant something. If I examined the tomb more closely, there might be other clues to find. Psalms 32:7. The numbers referred to a chapter and a verse in the Bible. Psalms 22:21. Corinthians 14:5. There are no more references to find, but a series of Roman numerals ran around the plaque. I made a note in case they meant something. Psalms 32:7, John 4:11, Corinthians 1:4-5, and just one more. Psalms 22:21. I may not be perfect, but I've got a memory like a steel trap. The chalice had led me to these inscriptions, but it looked like a happy coincidence to me. After all, the de Vasconcellos arms were already on the manuscript. Nope, I was still convinced that the chalice had some significance all of its own. It was hard to believe it was the same.